We often think of ESL students as the easiest to recognize in our classrooms. After all, they are the ones that enter our classrooms without knowing a word of English. But they are much more than that. 1/4 of all ESL students are immigrants, and the other 3/4 are born in the United States. The Latino population is the largest group of ESL students, representing 22% of all kindergarten through 12th grades. Sadly, only half of them earn a high school degree on time. Although many ESL students may be portrayed as the quiet and shy ones in the classroom, they have overcome many challenges. 30% of all ESL students come from low-income families. And although their numbers are growing, their levels of achievement remain lower than that of proficient English-speaking learners. They may be the students who are looked down on due to not knowing the language, yet many of them may be excellent in reading, math, and other subjects in their native language. And although they may have a harder time during middle school and high school, they show perseverance and dedication through all the challenges that they face.
ESL students face many challenges when entering the classroom, also when they don't speak the host language. Not only are they forced to learn English, but most meet specific requirements on standardized tests to move on. There is a huge gap between ESL students compared to English speakers when it comes to academic writing.
My name is Donlyn Lane, and I am the secondary ESL teacher for the Middletown Area School District. This is a Middletown M, not a Michigan M. I have about 20 students from grades 6 through 12, representing a variety of countries from around the world. Well, English learners face a variety of struggles in the mainstream classroom, but I would say the number one struggle is the academic language they face on a daily basis.
Teachers need to take time and get to know the ESL student. Teachers should not just assume that the student does not know any English. Most students do speak enough English to hold a simple conversation. Teachers also need to remember that students can speak English before they can write it. Teachers need to be patient with ESL students and offer extra help if the ESL student needs it. However, the teacher should not ignore the rest of the class that speaks English as their first language and understands the lessons and are ready to move on to the next task. Teachers also need to respect ESL students' culture and where they come from. Many teachers wonder how to grade an ESL student. It is advised that teachers start out with participation grade. This way, the teacher can see that the student is making an effort to learn the lesson. Teachers should not grade ESL students on grammar. ESL students will make grammar mistakes. It is also advised that teachers provide some sort of handout, such as pictures or small charts and tables, for the ESL student to look off of. Teachers should choose activities that draw on the student's prior knowledge and life experiences. Some students may have difficulty with how the classroom is set up or is ran, so the teacher needs to be very cautious while setting up and running their classroom. It is also important that teachers realize that ESL students are taking many other classes and not just their class, so they should not be overwhelmed with a bunch of work. One of the biggest challenges that teachers face would be giving the ESL students special attention or putting them on the spot for being different or coming from a different country. Teachers should treat ESL students just like other non-ESL students.
Most English-speaking countries with immigrant students have designed ESL programs aimed at addressing the linguistic needs of this group. The programs are varied and are delivered variously in other countries as well. No particular program model is suitable for all schools or students. Programs may vary depending on the policy directions the state or the province has given to their schools, the school size, the available resources, and the needs of individual students. Despite the array of ESL programs aimed at helping immigrant students learn English and use it to master curriculum content, studies of immigrant high school students' education reveal unsatisfactory services for these students, making high school graduation an unattainable goal for most. Services and support available to ESL students determine the quality of academic and social assistance that they receive. Unfortunately, the funding for ESL programs is typically unstable and insufficient, making it difficult to plan for long-term developments in ESL services. This causes ESL students to be pushed into the mainstream classes too early, forcing them to take lower academic classes which often do not meet entry to college requirements. The best way to help ESL students with grammar and their language learning is with one-on-one help and guidance. Unfortunately, many schools cannot afford this type of service to their ESL students, and their ESL students can seriously outnumber the number of teachers the school positions to help them.
All these things can be done to help an ESL student in the classroom. Encouraging integration of all learners involving teachers planning together to create interdisciplinary learning units to help the focus of the community's problems. Find out the ESL's learning style. It makes the students more involved. Flexible grouping procedures allow ESL students to work more together. Also, integrating culture into their curriculum increases their engagement and attention of not just ESL students, but students that already know the English language. Respect their language and pronounce their name correctly, and learn some of their culture to make the students more engaged in learning and allow them to know that you care. Also, manage ESL classrooms that the students may access at any time.
Well, when I have them in a pull-out situation or in an ESL support classroom, my main focus is vocabulary and vocabulary building, and we focus on the variety of classes that they are involved in mostly in the high school level.
Make personal bonds. Parent and community involvement is encouraged in these schools. This improves the students' well-being and lets them have a sense to do well like the others around them.